All right. What is the most rewarding part of your career?
I would say the most rewarding part of my career is just like being able to be a part of something where the community comes out and enjoys themselves. I've always been big on like throwing events and stuff like that, and I always just like seeing people enjoying themselves and my having the direct impact on that. It's really rewarding for me.
What is the most frustrating part about your career?
Um, Frustrating is there's certain demands from certain players or captains or certain situations that happen during games. I try to try to help everyone out, accommodate everyone, but sometimes it's impossible to say yes to everyone. So as much as I would like to help everyone out, sometimes I have to say no, and then obviously that in turn they get upset about it or frustrated. So I don't like when those situations come up, but when I have to deal with it, we got to deal with it. So
Yeah.
I would say that's the part that I'd rather not.
What qualities do you look for in people that you hire?
um, People that are good decision makers. So, people that are independent. I always train employees how what to do, how to handle certain situations. But when I'm not around, I want them to feel empowered and be able to make decisions on their own, and also be able to be a people person too, because you do have to interact. The more you interact with the players and the staff and the patrons, the more they're more open to coming to you if they have an issue or problem. So it's easier to handle certain situations.
When is breaking the rules okay?
Um, I would like to say never, but there are certain instances where, I mean, again, this is a sports league, so there's pages and pages of rules. Um, if you always want to lean towards customer service. You want all parties involved to be happy. So if if there's a certain rule that the team has in question, if the other team's okay with maybe modifying the rule or so on, then I'd be more than happy to just change something up to have a better overall experience for everybody involved. So I would say rarely, but in certain situations, if it's not such a big deal, and if it's something that everyone agrees on, and they don't deem unfair, then we'll go ahead and see what we can do to help the situation out.
What does empowerment mean to you?
Um, Empowerment means to me when people have trust in you. Again, as I've since the beginning of my career, I've been lucky to have a lot of good supervisors and managers that have trained me well and open for discussion. Whenever I have questions about certain things, and they trust me. They trust me to make the right decisions. They trust me to, you know, you know, handle situations on my own. And that really is an empowering feeling because I know that, whether right or wrong, they trust in that, I'm doing what I feel is best for, the park or the league. So definitely trust, I would say, is the most empowering thing.
Can you name a person who has impacted you a great deal, and if so, who and or how?
Probably cliche, but my dad. I mean, growing up with him, seeing him work, how hard he worked, multiple jobs, really instilled the work ethic in me that is never gonna go away. Like I'm not afraid of hard work at all. So definitely my dad.
How would you describe your work-life balance? Is it satisfying?
Um, well, I mean, the schedule is not ideal for my job. I do work 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So, I don't get to socialize a lot as often as I would like to. But, you work with it, you get used to it, and you try your best. It's definitely important not to, put all stock into work because then you don't want to take that home and then, you're just going to be frustrated or always going to be thinking about work. You need that balance. If not, it's going to carry over to your work once you're at work. So, it could be better, but I think, always working on it. So,
Would you do anything different if given the opportunity?
uh, do better in school. I, uh, I didn't do as well as I should have. I mean, I wasn't a terrible student either, but if, school does open a lot of doors and, just not just, academically, but professionally. Nowadays you need a master's degree for pretty much any job you try to go for. So definitely do, I wish I would have done a lot better in school, and taken more advantage of the resources I had.
What would you tell someone right out of college with little to no experience in the field who wants to work for your organization?
I would tell them to, obviously, you're not going to go right into the position you want most times. So just getting your foot in the door, not just my organization, but any organization. Try to, whatever you're most interested in, try to get your foot in the door as a part time or, whatever. Maybe it's not the department that you want, but it's something similar. And then that way, once, you get to meet people, network, and then once whatever position you actually want opens up, you have a better opportunity to get that position. So definitely just get your foot in the door no matter how, and be patient because sometimes it does take a little bit of time, but eventually if you really want it, you'll get there.
What is one thing about your organization resources you want the world to know about?
um I would say, well, I mean, specifically my park, there's a ton of, it's an athletic park, so there's a ton of activities to do out here. We got 8 softball fields. We have 4 flag football, soccer fields. We have a cricket pitch. We have disc golf. We have a lake in the back if you want to fish. We have a skate park. We have the only velodrome in the state of Florida. So there's a lot of things to do out here. Um, and we do have one of the larger leagues for softball in South Florida. So there's a lot of activities that I would welcome the public to come and try out in our park.
How has the profession changed since you started working in the industry?
I've noticed that it's actually increased a little bit. I've done research on, how popular softball is nowadays, and the popularity has been going down. But specifically, my park, we've had a number of increase in teams. I say since I started to the way it is now, we've had an increase of 40 teams. So it's quite a bit. Also, the safety aspect of it, we are taking more measures to try to make the game itself a lot more safer. So those are 2 things that, off the top of my head, I would say has changed since I started the position 2 years ago.
How do you spend most of your time during a work week?
Well, I've established a routine for myself. I come in at 3, so from 3 to about 6 o'clock, I answer emails, answer phone calls, try to prepare for that night, and then my staff comes in at 6. We go out between 6 and 7, set up the fields, and then from 7 to about 9:30, I'm out there watching the games, making sure everything's okay, talking to umpires, talking to players. And then about 10 o'clock, I come back in. I actually take care of the revenue that we make at the park. So I print out revenue reports, print out, bag the deposit to prepare for the next day pickup. And then by that time, it hits 11 o'clock and it's time to go home.
How best would you say I should network?
Um, Definitely take advantage of whatever networking events your school has. I'm sure that there's certain organizations you might have in mind. If you see that pop up on a list somewhere, just do that no matter what. Job fairs. I mean, I don't know, like professional sports teams have job fairs all the time. So even if you don't get the job, at least you're meeting the people that work in those departments and getting business cards, whatnot, and just honestly, just go to as many events as you can. Go to your career services at school, take advantage of that, and they'll be able to direct you to certain events that are going on.
What organizations should I be part of?
Well, I mean it's kind of tough because I don't know what organizations are in school anymore. But outside organizations, I mean for Parks and Rec specifically, there's the FRPA. I know if I used to be part of NERSA, which is the National Intramural Recreational Sports Association, which actually has student involvement. So they have student membership. So certain things like that, depending on what avenue you want to take with your career, definitely just look into it. See what associations are involved with those specific you know organizations, and try to just get some information on it and see if you're eligible to join those organizations.
Do you find your work contributes positively or negatively to your work-life balance?
I would say, I mean, it's not too bad. Again, it's just something that you get used to. It's really on me to make that work. But there's no negative or positive effect to it. It's just something that you deal with and you learn to live with, and just go from there.
Any other little tidbits I should know?
Um, Again, just while you're in school, just try to, if you can find a part-time job in whatever field you're trying to get into, just do it. I mean, work experience right now counts a lot, especially right out of college. I was lucky enough to be one of the few that gets a job straight out of college, and that's because of the work experience I had while I was in school. I graduated, and literally like 2 weeks later, I had the full-time position open up for me. So, um, if hopefully you get the same luck, but be patient and just try to get your foot in the door where no matter what organization or field you're trying to get into. All right.